Thank you very much for coming. So why I'm here? I'm here because I'm hearing a lot of, most horror stories about cloud platform where, they are flooded by support tickets, or platform that they create brilliant platform and then, they're struggling to find teams that are using it. When I think about this type of problem, I think, is the team really using the right metrics? This is clicking off, isn't it? Anyway, so I'm Simone. I'm head of engineering at On2. Just to mention a bit more, On2 is a subscription service for electric cars. Basically, you buy, you do a subscription, you get a car with insurance, with public charging, and everything. And this simplify adoption of electric cars, and this is in our mind also help us to reduce pollution in these big cities, but also reduce the amount of CO2 emissions. And the reason why I want to talk about this topic is because we are kicking off our new platform team. And this is going to be my fourth platform that I'm working on. And so I'm trying to recollect my learning because I did a massive amount of mistakes in the past on how to run a platform, and I'm trying to make sure that I don't do them again. So obviously, we do car, and so I'm going to do a journey. So these are the journey I'm going to bring you to. And it's going to be the first stop. We're going to stop and talk about platform as a product. What does it even mean as a product? And then we move and we talk about metrics and outcomes. I mentioned metrics, but why we use metrics, what for? And then finally, we're going to talk about the HEAT frameworks. That is something that I use at Babylon Health. I'm not supposed I should talk about Babylon Health in here, but I'm kidding. This is something that we used last year for our platform team. So let's start. First, a bit of an overview on platform. So I need a bit of show of hand. How many of you are engineers in the room? Roughly? Okay. Once I did a talk and they were all recruiters. I didn't know. So, just I want to make sure it's not the same situation. You know what I mean? And how many of you have worked or are working on a platform team? That's brilliant. That's really brilliant. So you are in the right room. So we're going to talk about platforms. So as you know, platform is a massive buzzword at the moment. I don't know if you feel the same, but back in the day, you will have like a library to do PDFs. Now it's called the digital printing platform. I don't know. Or you had an old, ops teams, and now it's called cloud platform. Still people are running around, they're responding to tickets, there is no automation, but now has a fancy name. It literally happened to me on Use UK. And it's interesting when you rename the platform and you don't do anything, because then people expect that actually it scale, and then they get upset. I don't understand, why it's not scaling? Well, it's not scaling because people are actually doing manual work. So obviously it's a buzzword, and because of that, I think we need to talk about a definition so that we are all aligned on what I mean. So this is the definition I'm going to use. It's very long, so don't worry about it. It's from Butcher, and it's the one is used in a team in a book called Team Topology that is quite popular around nowadays. Now, I'm going to split this into so we can discuss that one step at a time. I'm going to read it because it's long. So, a foundation of self-service APIs, tools, services, knowledge, and support, which are arranged as a compelling internal product. Okay, quite straightforward. What I want to focus on. First, self-service. So people don't really want to talk with you. They want to talk with you, but basically they want something that they can set up really without getting other people involved. Ideally, also on the other side, when they want to do something, no people should be involved. It should be something should be automated. Maybe on the beginning, maybe not fully at the beginning, but certainly at the end. Second bit, is an internal product. Interesting. It is a product, and you may ask, okay, what else could it be? Well, it could be a project. You do it and then you drop it, but it will cause a bit of problems. Or it could be an endless list of support tickets, and that we don't want that. So we now know it's a product. If it's a product, what are the questions you need to ask yourself? Well, first you want to find your users, I guess. So let's find out who our users are. So autonomous delivery teams can make use of the platform to deliver product features at a higher pace and will reduce coordination. Oh, interesting. autonomous delivery team can make use, that's our users. We got them. We found that those are our users. Actually, those are kind of our customers in a sense. If they don't really use you, I mean, you may end up out of business if you were a business. So now we found out who is our customer. We need to figure out their needs. This is what people in product do. They figure out the customer and then they figure out their needs. So what are their needs? Well, deliver at a high pace with reduced coordination, faster. They don't want to go slower. If your platform makes them slower, you're not helping them. If you force them to coordinate with you, well, you're not helping them. They're not their needs, okay? That's pretty cool. This is a very good definition. I chose it, so. Now, let's summarize where we are, okay? So platform is a product, right? And teams are our customers, and they really want to deliver at a higher pace. This slide, it really embodies what a platform should be. Okay, great. Now what? Now we talk about metrics. So I can show you 208 dashboard with metrics. Now this is not those metrics. I mean proper metrics. So to talk about metrics, we need to talk about when is worth it to have metrics. There are a lot of bad reasons to have metrics. A good one is if you want to run your team outcome-based. What do I even mean? I need to talk about output versus outcome. So output, I'm supposed to step, but this is switched off again. So anyway, so on one end you have output. So this is very common if you are on a product team, or even a platform team, you've been told what to build. If you are on a product team, let's imagine someone is telling you, can you build a feature that allow people to register or to invite their friends to the platform? What do they mean? They mean, well, we would like to increase 15% sign up. So we're thinking that this feature is gonna do that. Obviously, when they tell you a feature, what you focus on is delivery. It's like to ship it. It's kind of like, oh, we're gonna do everything possible to ship it, then go live and actually doesn't achieve the outcome. That's interesting. So the challenge is that you optimize for delivery, you didn't optimize for the result. This is problematic, right? What's also problematic is that as engineers, we're really good at solving problems, not just building things. So, and the fact that we are just used to build things is not, it's not fun, or at least it's not fun for me. So this is where outcome-based come from. So outcome-based means that basically you are being assigned a certain outcome to reach. That is much harder, but it's much more fun. So for example, in the example before, you would say, I would like to increase 15% customer sign up for the next quarter. And then you figure out how to do it. And the one among you, a lot of you that are platform engineers, you're gonna say, well, we've been doing that for a long time. We've been working with metrics for a long time. SLO, hitting a SLO, well, that's a metrics. It's not going to tell you exactly how. It's going to, you define exactly what you want to reach, and then you figure out how to get there. DORA metrics, sometimes you might get a DORA metric assigned to you, to your team, or part of it. Say, well, how to reach that? Now, so you say, well, what's going on? Well, what's going on is that we find out that outcome-based is a good thing because you achieve better results. Okay, that's great, we got it. Now, remember, I also say platform is a product, the teams are our customers, and they want to deliver the higher piece. So we know that they are our customers. So what? Well, it sounds like that we want to use some product metrics. I see a lot of platform team using non-functional metrics. I don't know, DORA, SLI, SLO, to sort of to figure out their results. I think that what we need is actually product metrics that focus on the customer, that are the internal teams. And this is what we used a few years ago and then last year. So we call it HEAT. So we didn't really invent it, we just play a bit with words. So there is a framework called HEART. And I just remove a couple of metrics, engagement and retention, and I add efficiency. And it became HEAT. What does that stand for? It stands for happiness, efficiency, adoption, and tag success. Those are 4 metrics. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna walk through them relatively quickly because again, this is a 20-minute talk. And I'm gonna give an example and some suggestions on how to use them. Okay, ready? First one, Adoption. Okay, that should be the obvious one. So what you want to make sure is actually your customers, and we learned that those are the internal team that want to use our platform, want to adopt your platform. So they want to use it and they're happy to pay for it. What does it mean pay? Well, paying when it's an internal team means usage. They pay with their time. They could have done that themselves, but instead they're using your platform. That probably like you're thinking, well, they don't have a choice. My platform is, is mandatory. And it's like, well, I think mandating a platform is really a bad idea. It really is, because it's a bit like a monopoly. Yeah, not the game on the background. I mean, in an economical sense. Imagine if there is a company that could provide, is the only one that provides one service, right? Do you think it will provide a great service? Do you think it's going to provide like a great customer support or customer experience? Do you think it's going to make a good price? No. Imagine imagine Stripe. Imagine if it was the only payment provider, almost is in the term, but would have focused on customer experience? Would have focused on, a great developer experience? Probably not. What would be the incentives? Not much incentive, is it? So, yeah, I don't think you should mandate it, at least at the beginning, because you won't have any reason to make it good. And an example of what we used to have an acquisition metric was something like that. At least 3 teams committing to use your product and 2 happy to be your early adopters. Again, when you are in a large business, you need to make sure you have a number of early adopters, because normally business priority change, as you all know, and then people drop. It's kind of like, oh yeah, it was great, we wanted to use it, and then it's like, oh, we need to work on something else. So, think out those numbers as high number, not 1 and 2. So, next one is efficiency. So we talk about external metrics. So we talk about we want to make sure that we build something that people really want to use. What about efficiency? To talk about efficiency, I need to explain normally the 2 big reasons why a platform is created, or the 2 big situations where it's created. I call them scaling versus from scratch. So let's start from scratch. So from scratch means that basically there is no such a service in your company. Not even someone is doing manually. That just you think, oh, I think it would be a great thing to add to the company. A lot of people are going to use it. Great. Scaling means that basically there is a service like that. Think about your ops team. They used to do things manually, so there is a need to procure your services, to deploy and something like that. It just that obviously doesn't work. It's manual. So you want to scale it. You want to make a self-service. You want to allow people to be independent. Now, if I could pick between the 2, I would definitely pick scaling all the time, because it's much less risky. Because from scratch, you don't really know if there is a need, right? If you scale something that's already used, there is a need. So this is an example of a metric that we use. Reduced number of support tickets raised 30%. Why this is useful? Imagine if you are in a scaling situation. So you're trying to scale it, and there are still things going on that are manual. So you want to focus on increasing your efficiency as a team. And this is why efficiency is important. So probably what's going to happen, sometime is just you start with acquisition or adoption. You try adoption, you get a number of people, and then you start to say, hold on, we reach our capacity, so we need to become more efficient. We need to stop, for example, being better at, reducing support tickets. Now, you can ask me, I know something that can reduce support tickets 100% in 3 seconds. I just kill the IT support ticket system or the Slack channel. So the challenge is when you work on efficiency, there are some efficiency that really sucks for the users, right? So I'll give you 2 metrics that's going to help you balance this out. One is happiness. Happiness. Happiness is such an overloaded. Someone else picked it. It wasn't me. Anyway, is basically what if your user is satisfied with your service? Does it help? Does it do what it's supposed to do in terms of needs? That's what happiness is. And how do you measure it? Because obviously this is less, numerical than what we used to. Well, you measure it by doing questionnaires. When you do a platform, it's very easier to do questionnaires to all your customers. You can do it once a month, you can do it once a quarter. It really depends how often you churn new feature and incremental value. Obviously, if you're a bit slow, quarterly. If you are good, it's probably monthly is a good start. And so you ask, there are some good metrics to use to measure happiness or satisfaction. Let's call it satisfaction, I prefer. And so an obvious metric is increase customer satisfaction 50% on our monthly survey. Now, another metric that is similar, but is different. Task success. What is task? I can't even pronounce it, my apologies. So how quickly does your tool help them? Is something like, for example, how long it takes them to be onboarded, how long it takes them to learn everything to use your service, or how long it takes them to build something and deploy it to prod. How often they do that? They help you understand how your tool is good at achieving their goals, their specific goal, their task. And so one example could be, decrease 30% how long it takes to create a new service using the platform. This is a very, very important metric. The reason is because it's the other side of efficiency, right? Efficiency, you're trying to improve your way to deal with their needs. Task success means that you improve how long it takes them to achieve their needs on their own. Now, I went through the 4 metrics, and there is an advice I want to give. So it's very useful to focus on one metric at a time, right? Because it's useful to focus, as always. However, those metrics, as you notice, they're kind of like, they're a bit tricky. So I'll give you a tip. You can counterbalance them with health metrics. So I'll give you an example because I think it's easier to think in this term. Let's imagine you want to improve efficiency, right? So an example I gave is decrease your team spend onboarding a customer 50%. That would be brilliant, right? But also you want to do it without reducing customer happiness by more than 5%. That's your health metrics. You're saying, we want to become efficient, but we can't really, so you can't shut down your IT support ticket system. This is how you do it. Okay, so we went through all 4: happiness, efficiency, adoption, and task success. So, and this is the end of the journey. I know it was quick. Now, one last thing. So, platforms are really, really powerful. I'm not saying that because I'm in front of you. I really are. They really multiply the value of other teams. They make them go faster. They make it have a bigger impact if they're done right. If they're done wrong, they are diminisher. They make everything slower. I've been in a situation where everybody was slower because the platform wasn't working. My hypothesis is that if you don't focus on product metrics, it's very hard for you to spot this because you don't have feedback. Or you do and you ignore it because actually your goal is something else. I know it wasn't a lot, but if you want to find out more, you can go to my blog. There are 2 articles. One is quite long. It's about those specific metrics. There are more examples and so on. So that's a good way to find out more. Or, I don't know, you can start working with me and then obviously we can talk together like every day. That's the other option. Thank you very much. And now you can charge your car.